And welcome to WRPB and WRPB Studios. And we live in paradise, and we have pools in our backyard, and we have the ocean, and there's community pools, and we don't understand the concept of safety, in my opinion. We think a pool is for fun, which it is, but there's so much more to it. With me is Virginia.
Yes.
And I don't know your last name, I'm sorry.
Hannon.
Mm-hmm. And you own...
Floating Otter Swim School.
Okay. Why? Why did you get into it?
My two youngest went through survival swimming when they were, one was 1 was 3, and I took them to those lessons every day. And I found that it was really important because we swam every day. And I watched my kids go from very nervous, reserved children as far as getting in the water to jumping off the side of the pool and swimming out in the lake, and they could swim and float all over the place. So when I got into a position where I had a pool that I could swim in, I love children and I love helping people, and I thought, this is what I want to do.
So how long ago did you start? How long?
5 years ago.
All right, so it's 5 years later. Have you seen a change in your industry?
I see a lot more awareness on survival swimming. I see our parents and families today looking for the survival swimming and not just for that fun comfort swimming that they get where they can kind of hold onto the side or blow bubbles under the water. They're seeing now that it's really important to understand that first, swimming, pools and water, you need safety and you need to be able to survive in that situation, and secondary, it can be fun.
Interesting, because I don't think you guys understand how serious it is, and if you do some research, you will find that the death rate due to swimming accidents is super high.
It is the leading cause of death in the children under the age of 5 that is preventable. There is a leading as far as that's not. It's mostly to do with birth defects, but this is a leading cause that is preventable.
It's preventable in so many ways, okay? Probably if you have young children that are running all over the place and we know we can't keep up with them, okay, you can put a fence around your pool, which you should have.
Absolutely.
And there are things that go in the water to let you know if the water's moved.
Water alarms.
But the scenario still becomes you want the child to be able to survive until either help can get there or they can save themselves.
Correct.
So what are like the techniques that you teach there?
The primary technique that we teach is swimming face down in the water, on top of the water, and then rolling over to float and breathe, and then we repeat that. So that's kind of age dependent,
okay.
But anyone over a year, we're going to teach that repetition of swimming, floating, swimming, floating.
So young children, do they not have the fear of the water, or do they have the fear of the water?
Oh, it depends on the child. Every child is very unique and different. Most children, when they come to me, it's really more so that they're coming to a new person. So I'm not familiar with them, and they're not familiar with me, and we're going to start lessons in the water. And mom and dad are going to smile on the side, but it's not necessarily fear of the water. A lot of parents tell me they're not afraid of water; they love the water. It's that they're coming to a new person. And
putting their trust in you.
And putting their they're learning trust in me.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
That's what. Now, one of the things, in my opinion, in what you do, would be I wouldn't bring my kid to a swimming school unless I knew that the instructor was CPR certified.
Yes, I am CPR certified. I am also PediaSwim certified, which is the survival school that I went to up in Central Florida. So I spent a lot of time learning my trade.
Do you swim every day?
Every day.
Okay. Do you swim every day? It's interesting. Do you swim every day because it's the industry you're in, or do you swim every day because you love to swim?
I love to swim since I was a kid. So we spent countless hours as a kid in the water. I don't ever remember learning to swim, but I just knew I always knew how to swim. And then it just happens to be my industry.
I believe that not everybody can float. And the reason I believe that is because I can't float. My family used to go to the pool, and they all used to float on their back and take in the sun, and I'd lay on my back, and I would sink. Is that, I mean, I guess, is body mass going to change whether you can float or not float?
So it just creates depending on how you're built and how you're made, it's going to create a different technique. But for the most part, everyone can float. If you think about a kid who's 12 or 13 years old, though, for them, air's always been vertical.
Right.
Standing up in a pool, air's always been you being held like this, and so you're always vertical in the pool. If they don't learn that horizontal, laying on top of the water, it becomes very difficult later in life to learn that. Yeah.
It's me.
Right. So then we teach techniques, because we do teach older children. I mean, we just had a 14-year-old come and learn complete from the very beginning to now he's swimming back and forth in the pool, and floating is a challenge for him. So we teach techniques as far as how to help him to relax a little bit more, get the air that he needs when he is floating, and then be able to go back and swim again.
You know, when I was growing up, and we went to the pool, because we went to, a beach club and had a pool, you weren't allowed in the water unless you can doggy paddle. They thought that that was the most important thing to learn back then, years ago. Is it still important?
I don't teach doggy paddle.
Okay.
We don't teach doggy paddle in survival swimming. I teach swim, float, swim, so everything horizontal. I don't teach a lifting of the face. They will go on, and I do have a stroke instructor who teaches them formal stroke. Do kids do it? Of course they do it, but we don't teach it, we don't encourage it, because doggy paddling can also look the same when you're drowning.
You know, what's interesting, and I say this, and you've heard it in tons of my videos, that we always are better off using a professional, Because for me, and many of you that are around my age, if we had kids, grandkids going in the pool, we're going to teach them the doggy paddle, because that's how we were taught.
Correct.
And obviously, somebody who's a professional says, no, that's not the way, but there is a way to survive.
Yes.
And that's the route that you teach.
Yes.
What ages do you teach?
I start them at 6 months. I do prefer closer to 9 months. Anything younger, they have to meet a little bit of, some criteria to be able to start before 9 months. But 6 months is the absolute earliest that we'll start them. And then we go all the way up through the teenage years usually.
Yeah, okay, so we live in Florida, and a lot of people have moved down from up north, or maybe from the Midwest, and don't know how to swim. And it might sound crazy to a lot of you guys, but I've run into a ton of people that didn't know how to swim.
Correct.
Okay, and they're in their 50s and 60s.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have the ability to train them also?
I can train them, but we don't have space at this time.
Okay.
So I do focus on the younger children. There are some schools locally that do teach adults, and I usually refer them on, but I don't have.
It's not okay.
Yeah.
Plus, you love kids.
I do love children. I do. Yes.
Okay.
It gives me my cuddle time with them too.
You know, it's funny because I have a friend. She has 4 daughters, and now she just finds out she's pregnant with twins. And she did a reveal in Disney.
Oh.
Okay, and she's having a boy and a girl.
Oh boy.
So she's so excited.
Yes.
She has no boys. So they have no boys.
How exciting.
So that's pretty exciting for them. My mom has 2. She would have had 10 if it was up to her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And there are some people that don't want to have any kids.
Yes.
You know? Okay, so you're training kids. Is it different to train them survival skills for a pool is it different than in the ocean?
No, it's not any different. I am definitely an advocate of when they are in a dark body of water, putting them in a life safety jacket. So as much as I love and I believe in our survival swimming, when you're dealing with waves and you're dealing with different currents and such, that can be a little bit of a challenge for a younger child.
Could be a challenge for anybody.
Exactly. So when we get near a dark body of water, I encourage them to put put them in life jackets for those reasons, not puddle jumpers, not, little arm floaties, but life safety jackets. So
How long is the course?
it's about 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay, so at the end of 4 to 6 weeks, do they get certified?
So we do a graduation.
Oh, how cool.
Yes, it's not a graduation like you think, though. It's what we call a closed checkout. So they will come fully clothed, pants, shoes, a jacket, and a shirt. And we do a series of simulated fall-ins,
Okay.
just to make sure that they're going to roll over and float. And they can roll over and float and lay there for help and wait for help, or they can roll over and float and then swim to the side. That'll be age dependent and child
So
dependent.
that you do these fall-ins fully dressed.
They're fully clothed.
So that's a handicap on its own
Correct.
because of the weight of the water and the material.
Well, children don't fall in a pool in their goggles and swimsuits typically.
Right.
Typically, they've gotten away from mom and dad or mom or dad or whoever they're around and gotten through the barriers, because children are children and we can't always be around them. So they're in usually something that's not their bathing suit. So
Interesting.
it's important that they know how to survive with additional weight.
How do people find you? You have a website, a phone number, contact information?
I do. So my website is www.floatingotters.com. And I'm on Facebook as well and Instagram. My phone number is 579-8519.
772?
772, yes,
Where do a lot of your students, I guess, come from the Treasure Coast?
correct.
Do you have any that come from further?
Some come from, mainly just from the Treasure Coast, Fort Pierce, Jensen. If they're that much further, though, I really do try, and because of the way the lessons are, and it's very demanding on a parent's schedule, I will try and refer them to a school that's closer that I know that teaches survival.
It's really interesting, and I know we have to go, but you are the prime example of somebody that I would want to work with because it's not about you. It seems to be always about the kids, which is the way business should run, but it's also not about competition for you. It's about co-opetition.
Correct.
And sometimes it can't be about the money. It's something, they're 42 years old, they want to learn to swim. It's not about, you could easily do it, you know how to do it,
Yeah.
but let someone else do it who's professional, who specializes in that.
Correct.
That, to me, shows a business person that cares, and it's about helping more than it is about making the money.
Absolutely.
We all need to make money, but we need to eat.
We need to eat, but everyone...
FP&L yells at me if I don't pay their bill.
That's true.
If I don't
It's
pay
true.
their bill.
I like my pool to be nice and warm.
Right. With that, everybody, I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Everybody, have a great day. We'll be right back. Check out the statistics, okay, of how many kids die in swimming pools. You will be utterly amazed. We'll be right back.